February the 4th, we have 7 games to go through tonight. We had a couple of very interesting performances, some interesting results as well. Not sure what Houston are doing. Not sure what Portland are doing. We'll discuss all of that. Coming up, this is what day is it? It's Tuesday. This is the Tuesday post-game show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Anywhere, everywhere you consume fantasy basketball content. We are also part of the Old Man Squad at Old Man Squad on Twitter. Go and like them. Go and find that trade deadline show. We're not far away at all. About, 36 hours away from the show. So, yeah, getting excited is going to be a good one. All right, let's look at the player rankings for today. As I just refreshed to include the late games. We only want one day, don't we? All right, top 8 players today. Interesting names in here. Tyrese Maxey, he's been very good lately, so he was number 1. Io Dosunmu, Precious Achiuwa, Kyrie Irving, Karl Anthony Towns, Matas Buzelis, LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, Reed Shepherd, and Keon Johnson. A little bit to talk about there. Let's get into the games. First game of the night. Dallas at Philadelphia. Dallas without Anthony Davis. He was there. He was courtside. He's close. It's probably only a game or two, so he will come back in here. Let's just start. We'll start with Kessler Edwards. He started. He did nothing. Don't roster him. Klay Thompson, 3-point streamer, nothing more. Dante Exum has looked pretty good. A couple of spot starts here. I don't think it's going to hold. But is it? It's very interesting. We look at the guys that were out here. PJ Washington, he will probably start. Anthony Davis, of course, will start. But what do they do? I think Klay Thompson is going to start. I don't think they move him out of the starting lineup. Daniel Gafford, serviceable tonight, not great, but he left with a shoulder injury. Now, I don't think we've had any word on this. Let me just double check. All right, let's have a look. Daniel Gafford. Okay, let us see. No, Master, no. It doesn't seem to be an update or any word on this injury. Okay, so we don't have much to go on here other than what we saw. It was pretty innocuous. It looked somewhat similar to the Jalen Johnson injury, where he basically just sort of reached in the wrong direction and then clutched straight at his shoulder, which is never a good look. Again, no indication this is anywhere near as bad as Jalen Johnson, but the mechanism, the way it happened was similar. Look, if he misses time here with Derek Lively out, Anthony Davis is going to have to play center, whether he wants to or not, which makes understanding value a little bit clearer. If Anthony Davis plays power forward and Gafford is fine, we probably don't get Dante Exum starting because I think Klay Thompson will just shift down to the 2 and PJ at the 3. But if Anthony Davis starts at the 5, Washington stays at the 4, Thompson at the 3, do they run with Dante Exum? I think you could argue he's been better than Spencer Dinwiddie. Quentin Grimes is not there anymore. Caleb Martin, I guess, could come in and start. Max Christie played quite well tonight in his first game, 15 and 9, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 of 4 from 3, 32 minutes. All very encouraging. Certainly not guaranteed once we get Caleb Martin into the rotation, once we get PJ back into the rotation, once we get Anthony Davis into the rotation. Those minutes aren't going to be there unless they're just going to basically eliminate Spencer Dinwiddie, which, if we think back to the start of the season, they did. He was not in the rotation to open the season. So it is in them to do it, but we will see. So still a lot of questions here. Really just what I'm saying is, though, it's encouraging to see Dante Exum playing and playing well after yet another injury. So very good to see. Let's shuffle this around. Let's move over to the Philadelphia side of things. Paul George did not play. Eric Gordon didn't play. Kyle Lowry didn't play. Andre Drummond didn't play. Joel Embiid did play and played well, 29 points. He was on a 30-minute minute restriction and played 36, so there's something. 29, 11, and 10. Look, when he plays, he's going to put up numbers. He's a very good basketball player. We know that. Watching him on the court, he actually looked a little bit better than he did like a month ago when he was out there. He didn't look good, mobility-wise. So, look, I think when he plays, he's going to put up numbers. My concern just watching him play is defensively. He doesn't look like he's got much lift anymore or spring, which is not surprising. So I do think those defensive numbers are probably not going to be at the level we've come to expect with him. The scoring should be fine. I think the efficiency will be okay, but again, not as good as prior, just because there were a few shots he missed around the rim. I mean, obviously he's been out, so he's a bit rusty, but I just think he's still very tall, but there's a lot of other tall players in the NBA. So he may look to score away from the basket a little bit, which will affect his percentages. So there'll be a couple of things that will regress here, but the numbers are still very good. So when he plays, if he can play, well, he's not playing tomorrow. He's already been ruled out. But if he can give us a week of really strong production, I would absolutely try and move him if you can. We had Gershon Yebusele. He just slid down to the power forward position. Nice night for him, 19, 8, and 4. And look, if we're being honest here, Joel Embiid helps his teammates. So he gets others good looks. So he doesn't just put up numbers himself. He helps those around him, which he did with Yabusele. Kelly Oubre, I would hold. This was not his best game, 9, 6, and 3 with a steal and a block. And of course, when Embiid plays and then when Paul George comes back, his offensive touches are going to go way down. But he has been finding a way to do other things. Tyrese Maxey, 33 and 13, continues to be very, very good. And Justin Edwards, 16, 2, and 2 with a block, 38 minutes. Again, Paul George coming back will impact this. But if you added him, I would just hold him. We've got no Embiid tomorrow. Paul George might come back. I don't know if he's been ruled out tomorrow, actually. But I would hold Edwards for now. And then all these other guys on the bench, I'm not really wasting my time on. All right, over to game 2, New York at Toronto. And we had a good win for the Knicks. Not convincing, 121, 115. For the Knicks, as expected, Mikal Bridges, it was exciting to see him on the injury report, but he did play, and he was fine. 17 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. Karl-Anthony Towns shot the ball a little bit better here, which was good to see, 27 and 20 with a block. Josh Hart, slow start to this one. He was on 0 points with 1 assist, no rebounds for quite a while. Ended up with a nice productive line, 15, 7, and 6 with a steal. Continues to be very, very good, playing through a knee injury, but doesn't seem to be bothering him at all. And Precious Achiuwa, who in the last game had 2 points with 9 rebounds and a couple of steals, I think. He turned it on here. And look, Toronto, certainly a favourable matchup. Revenge game, dare we say. 17 and 8, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He hit a 3 and he hit both of his free throws. So could be his best game of the season. But until OG is back, we just have to hold him. And McBride, yeah, I mean, 21 minutes is, look, it's intriguing, but he generally doesn't do enough anyway. For Toronto, no RJ Barrett, concussion protocol. Jakob Poeltl left this game with a hip injury and is doubtful, I think, for tomorrow, whenever they play next, he's doubtful. So who did we get in this one? We got a nice night for Scotty Barnes outside of the percentages or the field goal percentages. Quickly, still on a minutes restriction, 9 points, 5 assists, a steal. Grady Dick had 14 points with a steal, 2 threes. He's an ad, or not an ad. He's a hold at the moment with a couple of injuries floating around. Jacoby Walter got the start here with RJ Barrett out. He had 13 points with 2 steals. So I guess they're going with him over Agbaji for now. With Jakob Poeltl going down in this one, we got a nice Kelly Olynyk game. 22 minutes, 11 and 9, 3 assists. He hit a 3. If we were going to get 22 minutes of Kelly Olynyk every night, he'd be close to a must-add player. If Jakob Poeltl misses time here, do they go with Kelly? Maybe. I'm not convinced. They may just go really, really, really small. Orlando Robinson may get a spot start while Kelly Olynyk comes off the bench. So just keep an eye on that rotation there if Jakob Poeltl does miss time, which it appears as though he will miss some time. All right, Houston. They go down to Brooklyn after they lost to... Who did they lose to? Washington? They lost to someone recently anyway, and it wasn't... it wasn't nice. They lose again to a team that doesn't want to win, 97-99. For the Rockets, Amen Thompson, only 7 points, but he had 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. So, yeah, another really strong line. Only took 6 shots, so just wasn't as involved offensively. Dylan Brooks had 16 points with nothing else. He's a 3-point streamer. Şengün returned 24 and 20. Not much outside of those points and rebounds, but still good to have him back on the court. Jalen Green, a little bit of a slump now, 13 points on 5 of 14 shooting. Maybe a small buy low opportunity. But we want to talk about this backup or starting point guard spot. Fred VanVleet is out for a couple of weeks, I would say. Aaron Holiday started for whatever reason, 0 points. Maybe this is why they lost. Why are you starting Aaron Holiday? Reed Shepherd, he's basically been invisible all season, buried on this depth chart. 28 minutes, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 3 threes, and 3 of 3 from the line. So we thought he was good coming out of the draft. He has done nothing. Summer League, he was good. Preseason, he was good. Has done barely touched the ball, barely touched the court. Does this open up a role for him? Maybe. I'm certainly not going to trust it, but if they decide to go with him as a starter and he plays 26, 28, 30 minutes, you could consider adding him. Do remember we are keeping our pickups for later in the week, so I wouldn't be doing it now. But he's someone to definitely keep an eye on just in case they go, oh, yeah, that's right, you're pretty good at basketball, and they decide to play him minutes. Cam Whitmore had 12 points in his 24 minutes. Do remember Tari Eason will come back in for the next game, which will probably just see Aaron Holiday drop out. I don't think they're going to start Reed alongside Amen Thompson, but there is another back-to-back later in the week where Tari Eason will probably rest. So, yeah, just keep an eye on things there in Houston. For Brooklyn, I'm just not adding any Brooklyn players anymore. It's just too hard to project. Jalen Wilson, who'd been playing, I talked about him in the pregame. He played 30-plus minutes in 4 straight games, played 18, had 7 points. Nick Claxton, 14 and 4 with 2 blocks in his 28 minutes. Day'Ron Sharpe, again, is he better than Claxton? I don't think he's significantly worse. He had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks in his 20 minutes. Bring on that starting spot, I say. Ebwoma, he got some minutes down the stretch here, 14, 4 and 4 with 2 steals. D'Angelo Russell pooed all over your field goal percentage, 3 of 15 from the field. So, again, Zaire Williams, Jalen Wilson, Keon Johnson, apparently D'Angelo Russell, Toson Ebwoma, Tyrese Martin. Take your pick. Go for it. I'm not interested in any of them. It's just too bloody annoying. Boston and Cleveland are two basically full-strength teams here, so there's not a ton to talk about. It was a good win for Boston, given they've had some bad losses of late, 112 to 105. Look, no real standouts here. I thought Horford looked pretty good off the bench in this one, 13 and 10 with a block. Still very borderline for me. He needs injuries to really step into a must-roster role. Peyton Pritchard had 9, 6 and 3 with a steal. So, sadly, this is one of his better games. Lately, I think he is just a stream as well. And Drew Holiday, every game he plays is really just backing up the fact that I keep saying he is a drop. 6 points, 1 assist, 2 steals. The 2 steals are nice, but yeah, we don't need to be rostering Drew Holiday. As for Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, both very good. Evan Mobley, not so much. 7 and 5, 2 assists, no steals, no blocks, 3 of 14 from the field. So, yeah, big struggle town game for him. Maybe a buy low. I doubt you're going to pull it off. Max Strus did nothing. Karis LeVert did as little as him, as did Ty Jerome. Sam Merrill was sort of the guy here, but you never know with this bench. Next game, Karis LeVert could come out and have 26 and 6 with 3 steals. Ty Jerome could come out and have 18 points with 6 threes. You just don't know. So I don't really trust any of those guys. Miami at Chicago. Bulls rally 133 to 124 over the Heat. Let's start with Tyler Hero. We don't need to talk about. He's just absolutely fine. The shooting was a bit off, but still a nice performance. They keep rolling with Haywood Highsmith for whatever reason. He's not doing anything as a starter, and he's not even playing close to starters minutes. Jovic, I've talked about him. He had 20 points. Didn't do much else in this one. Pretty empty 20 points, but he still played 36 minutes. He is the guy we want to be rostering there in Miami. Terry Rozier had 29 minutes, but he also had 5 points. So I'm okay to just part ways with him, bid him farewell, and send him off to the waiver wire. Bam, fine for Bam. Khalil Ware, better than fine. I don't know. 17 and 12, didn't get a block. He had a steal, 8 of 12 from the field, 31 minutes. Must roster player, top 50 rest of the way, maybe. It's going to be inconsistent. He's a rookie, but yeah, I do think that he is going to be very good for the remainder of the season. For the Bulls, all right. So they went with their 4-guard lineup, and 3 of the guards were good. Josh Giddey, very good. Ayo Dosunmu, very good. Kobe White, I won't say very good, but good. Lonzo, not so much. 5 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, but 29 minutes. So the minutes are holding. He is must roster. Vooch, one of his poorer games, actually, 12 and 10. There's word floating around that the Bulls had a couple of deals in the works for Nikola Vucevic, and they fell over, or they fell apart, or however you want to phrase it. I don't know why. My assumption would be here that the Bulls are asking too much for Nikola Vucevic. That seems like a very Chicago thing to do. No word on that. Hopefully they can still get a package put together, whatever that looks like. I mean, if you're the Bulls, it's time to just move on. I know they were just being stubborn because when they initially acquired him, it was probably a bad move on their part. And they just sort of said, no, we're going to stick with this. It's going to be good. And it hasn't been. But I think we're at the point now where they can just sort of accept their losses and move on. Matas Buzelis, 24 points with 2 blocks, 10 of 10 from the field. Now, he's absolutely not going to go 10 of 10 from the field, but 31 minutes, very encouraging. has to be rostered, I think. Patrick Williams had 10 points, 7 rebounds in 31 minutes as well. I would absolutely have Buzelis over Patrick Williams in every situation. And Jalen Smith had 8 and 8, 4 assists, 2 threes in his 15 minutes. Now, that's not fantastic, but that's enough. If you're stashing him, the rebounds are handy. He hit a couple of threes, 50% from the field. So he's doing enough to put up value. Indiana at Portland. What Portland, man? What is going on in Portland? 112-89, they defeat the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, yuck. He had 6 assists. He had 2 blocks and a steal. He also had 0 points on 0 of 3 shooting. I'd like to think if I was running out there on an NBA court, I could fire up more than 3 shots. Yeah, rough night. Andrew Nembhard was pretty good again, 17 and 6, 2 steals and a block. I have talked about him being very borderline. I think he is still borderline, but probably has to be rostered. He's been arguably better or more consistent, at least, than Tyrese Halliburton. Benedict Mathurin is just a points stream guy. You can drop him whenever you feel the need. TJ McConnell had a nice night off the bench, only 18 minutes, but 14 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. Remains a very, very good assists and steals streamer. On some nights, the minutes have been very up and down. Over to Portland. Another impressive win. Their team defense at the moment is impressive, man. They are hustling, covering gaps. It's good. It's exciting to watch, and it's confusing because they're Portland, and I have a Portland friend who has no idea what they're doing and why they're doing this. Whether this means the Chauncey Billups, they had a few clips of him during the game talking about the fact that the team is very together at the moment and playing for each other. They're all accountable, which is fantastic. But what happens when they then tear this team apart, if they do, and get rid of Jeremy Grant or Anthony Simons or DeAndre Ayton or Robert Williams? Does that impact this togetherness, or are they under the assumption that players are on the way out? I don't know. But look, we work with what's in front of us, as I always say. Tamani Kamara, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, steal and a block. Continuing his very, very nice season. He won't get the award, but he is certainly, I think, one of the most improved players in the NBA. I'm not sure. I'm not a betting man. No idea what odds are, but yeah, he's looked really good. DeAndre Ayton, yeah, not his best night, but they still won. He only played 22 minutes. He had a little bit of foul trouble. They went small. Robert Williams was far more impactful here, which is great for his trade value. He played 24 minutes. This is Robert Williams, 4 and 11 with 2 blocks. So if you have Ayton, obviously these are the risks that you take with DeAndre Ayton. But I think he'll be better than this. This was just a matchup thing. They went with who was playing well. Anthony Simons had 22 points. Denny Avdia, a poor night for him. Again, he will be fine. Scoot had 17, 8 and 5 with a steal off the bench. Shaden Sharp also 17 points with 3 steals. So both of those guys are rosterable. I would still have Scoot over Shaden, but I think they're both doing just enough to be rostered. And the final game, good win for the Lakers. No Luka, but he, much like Anthony Davis, is very close to making his debut for his new team. For the Lakers, Rui played well, 20 points, nothing else. This is what Rui is. He's a points guy, but you can absolutely add him in, stream him in, if your league allows unlimited pickups. Again, don't waste an ad on Rui Hachimura. LeBron James, 26, 8 and 9, 3 steals, another really strong performance. Jackson Hayes, look, he's going to be pretty mid, I think. He is someone we're rostering, but he's not going to play typical starters minutes, or at least it doesn't appear that way. He had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. So he's doing stuff. He helped them win, so that's good. So I think we just hold him and wait and see what happens. Austin Reeves had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. So those assist numbers are really good. But, of course, they are going to come down once Luka is in the rotation. Finney Smith started, had 7, 4, and 2. He's not someone we're rostering. And I don't think we need to really worry too much about Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, Shake Milton. Vanderbilt is our steal streamer. He only had 1 here with 6 rebounds. Of all of those guys, I feel like he has the safest floor if we're looking at stream value for the Clippers. It was a bad James Harden night, 2 of 12. He had 9 assists. He had 2 steals, just couldn't shoot. It was a pretty rough game all round for the Clippers. So we won't really need to cover too much. Kawhi, only 22 minutes. Norm Powell had 20 points in his 31 minutes, so they just rolled him out there because he's playing very well. Derek Jones popped for 17 points with nothing else. He's usually the other way around where he'll get you like 8 points, but some defensive stuff, rebounds. So it is what it is. You take what you can get. You hold Derek Jones, I think. Zubac's a quiet night for him as well. And then, yeah, we're not worrying about the bench in all standard leagues. All right. Now, I will just double check. There's no injury updates, anything like that. Let's get to some questions. Try and drink my coffee before it gets cold. All right. Lone Des. Trailblazers with the longest winning streak in the NBA. Yes, what are they doing? What is going on? What is this world we are living in? Nerdy Nerd. Are Brogdon, Cole Anthony, and Justin Edwards holds rest of season? No, they are not. If I had to pick one of those 3, it's probably Justin Edwards. As soon as Suggs is back, Cole Anthony will lose pretty much all his value. Brogdon... there's almost no way that he is traded into a spot where he plays more than about 24 minutes, I don't think. Lone Des also says Christie played 31 minutes. He did. The Gafford injury might offer a bump. It might. As I said, we do have Washington to come back. We do have Caleb Martin to come back. And we do have Anthony Davis to come back. So there's... 90 minutes to come back in. So, yeah, look, it might help him, but, yeah, I'd wait and see. Are we still holding Sticks? Picked him up last week to start. If you picked him up last week, hold him. Yep, as I said, we're 38 hours away from the trade deadline. So, yeah, if it's painful holding, which I get, like the numbers haven't been great, then I don't know. Go camping for 2 nights and come back and see what happened. Is Io a pickup in an 11-team 9-cat league? Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably... Yeah, I mean, that's pretty close to standard. Yeah, I think so. And you'd be dropping one of Goga, Vassell, or Beal to pick up Io. Okay. Yeah, Vassell. Amazingly, it might be Vassell that is the drop. Yeah, I think you could make a case for Dosunmu over all of those 3. Yeah. Goga stands out. He's very different. All 3, 3 of the 4 are guards. So if you don't need blocks, rebounds, get rid of Goga. If you are pretty desperate for those big man stats, I'll be holding him, and I would probably, if I had to pick one of Vassell or Beal to get rid of, that's hard. Vassell and Beal both have, I think, more upside, but Io is just going to be rock solid at top 90. Vassell could be top 50 for a week and then top 180 for a week. Same with Beal's probably a little bit safer. Yeah, maybe it's Vassell. Yeah, look, interesting question, Joseph. Is saving waiver wire pickups in a competitive league near the trade deadline actually viable? So does it work? People are already picking up players at the beginning for stashes like Buzelis, Precious. Oh, why, he's a stash. Smith, you feel late. Look, fair. I get that. But remember, all of these players that they're picking up are based on what we know or think we know. There will be trades that we didn't see coming. Who saw that Anthony Davis trade? No one. There's obviously not going to be any trades as big as that, but there will be players move that we aren't even considering at the moment. So although these obvious ones like Buzelis, Jalen Smith, Dayron Sharp maybe, there's a few of them that we've been talking about. Dan's done a lot of stash shows. So there are players that we're talking about that people are going to try and get ahead of on this. But there will also be players that are far more reactive, or the move has to be far more reactive as opposed to proactive, where once you see the trade go down, you go, oh, okay, this comes out of nowhere, going at him. So I can see your point, but yes, I do think saving a couple of moves is viable. What I would say as well in those situations is if you miss out, like if you're in your mind, there's all these players are coming up and stashing whatever, and you miss out on them, treat it as an opportunity to actually make the most of people's poor decision making. So you will find, I can almost guarantee in a lot of leagues, there will be managers that go, oh my God, Jalen Smith, like Vooch gets traded, I need to add Jalen Smith, and they drop Isaiah Hartenstein or if it's a Zubats or something. Like there will be situations where the hype and all of the hoopla and fanfare around these stash players, they just go, oh, yeah, okay, I've got to get this guy. When in fact, yes, he is a stash, Jalen Smith, and he could be a must-roster player, but he does not have the upside of top 50 or anything like that. So if you do miss out on them, keep an eye on your waiver wire because there will be players dropped that you can then go, why the hell was this guy dropped? Go and pick him up. Chinchilla. Sorry, that was a long question, a long answer to probably a pretty simple question. In a points league, is feasible to trade LeBron for Maxey, LaMelo for Lillard or Trey, or JJJ for someone like Trey Murphy or Amen in a points league? In a points league, if you're getting Maxey, yes, I would do that. LaMelo for Lillard or Trey, yeah, I would do that for Trey. Lillard, it's probably okay, yeah. And JJJ for someone like Trayman or a Murphy or a Amen Thompson. That one's a little bit closer for me, the JJJ one, because he's been very good, and Ja Morant is certainly not a picture of health. Trey Murphy's been very good. I think I'd probably do it for Trey Murphy, and then yeah, maybe as well. I think those three are pretty comparable. The other two I would do. All right, another one from Joseph. Who are some stashes that I'm keeping an eye on? Well, I just mentioned a couple. Dayron Sharp is one of my favourites. Look, I mean, there's obviously a few. So I'm just going to pull up some teams. Oh, let's get rid of that. Don't need that. So Dayron Sharp, I'm just sort of looking at, I guess, the poorer teams, or like Miami, there's no one at this point because they haven't had Jimmy Butler. So if he's traded, whatever. Yeah, in Charlotte, I guess it's, I mean, Nick Smith, but he's already been picked up. If they get to a point where Mark Williams is shut down, I'm not sure they do, but it would be Moussa Diabate. The Pelicans, there's probably a little bit in New Orleans if they go down that path of not caring. I mean, Alvarado, Hawkins are the obvious ones. Brandon Boston, I mean, he played well early in the season. There's a chance that they throw him back into a 30-minute-a-night role. Carlo Matkovic would be an interesting one there. We saw a bit of him last night. The thing that is not in his favour is that Yves Missi is a rookie as well. So I don't think they're going to shut Missi down. But Matkovic is someone to monitor. In Philly, Justin Edwards, who's sort of putting up value now if they end up going into that tank mode at some point. Maybe Quentin Grimes, who was traded. Maybe Philly can give him a solid month of 30-plus minutes a night. I think that's what he needs. And they're absolutely going to run him out over Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry, these guys, Reggie Jackson. Well, Portland, I mean, Klingen is the one, I suppose, we've talked about, but it's really hard at the moment because he's not even an every night part of the rotation. So he is really a tough stash. And, I mean, are they just going to keep trying to win? I don't know. They've won 9, I think, of their last 10 now. I mean, Scoot, no, he's not a stash. He should be rostered, so I won't count him. Delano Banton, I mean, he was a silly season kind of special last season. And then down the bottom, I mean, you've got Toronto, Utah, Washington. There will be players in there somewhere, I think, but who? I don't know. Jamal Shed is someone, if quickly at some point just they end up throwing in the towel. In Utah, it's Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski are the two that come to mind. In Washington, Vukcevic would be interesting if Valanciunas is moved, although the rumour is that Valanciunas might go and Nurkic might come back. I don't know what's going on there. Poor Nurkic. But Vukcevic, I like him. Jared Butler has had moments this season. So there's a few there. Again, long answer to a simple question. When you're ready, when you're ready, do I think Grimes going to Philly, he's going to get value? Is he an ad? I wouldn't waste an ad on him this week, again, unless you have unlimited pickups. I do think there's a chance that he has value there, but I'm not sure it's yet. I think at some point he might. Who do I think wins the Kuzma for Middleton trade? Nurkic for Valanciunas, who cares? I mean, Valanciunas going to, I guess, Phoenix would probably, well, that would be interesting, only because Nick Richards isn't that good. Plumlee is not that good. So you could definitely argue that Valanciunas is best of those three. Doesn't play any defense, but certainly has the highest offensive upside of the three. So there is a chance that Valanciunas would start, but I don't think he plays starters minutes. I don't think he's going to play more than about 24. So not a huge change. If Nurk goes to Washington, 20 minutes maybe. Kuzma for Middleton. Poor Chris Middleton is what I would say. I would think that if possible, I'm not a money expert, I'm not a contract expert, Washington would consider buying Middleton out. I don't know if they'd keep him there. So there's a chance that he just gets bought out and signs with a contender somewhere. Kuzma playing for the Bucks is interesting. I think at least he'd have a consistent role. I'm not going to say he's a winner, but he will at least have a consistent role and be playing on a team that's motivated to win. So that can only be good for him. All right. Chinchilla. Would I rather hold Bilal, Buzelis, Cole, or Jovic in a 10-team points league? Not Cole. Oh, that's interesting. I think Jovic, Buzelis, Bilal are all sort of fringy. What are they doing at the moment? Sorry, this is I don't know. I mean, Buzelis has the upside. We just haven't seen what he can do. So maybe I'd hold him. Maybe I'd hold Bilal over Jovic. Probably Buzelis or Bilal might be the two that I'd hold there. Trevor Lane says Durant is next to be traded. Yeah, look, there's a lot of rumours about him going back to Golden State. He is doubtful for tomorrow with an ankle injury. So is that a coincidence? We don't know. Again, it's rumours. We love rumours, but they are just rumours. Oh, hang on. No, that I missed one here. Mobley, Cam Thomas, Buzelis, or Jarrett Allen and Josh Hart. 12-team, 9. Oh, is this a trade? So Mobley, Cam Thomas, and Buzelis, or Jarrett Allen and Josh Hart? I think Mobley's the best player there. Usually you would go for the best player. But I think Jarrett Allen and Josh Hart are second and third. Pretty close, too. They're both my top 40 players. 12-team. Punting threes. If you're punting threes, I might go Jarrett Allen. I'm just not that high on him. Yeah, look, maybe I'd go the Mobley side. You're taking a risk, though, because Cam Thomas, we have no idea when he's going to come back and then how much he's going to play. And I think the Nets will just roll him out there because he doesn't help them win. It's a little bit risky there. Josh Hart, Jarrett Allen is very safe because both teams are very competitive, top of the standings. They're not really going to be shut down. So I think the Allen Hart one is if you're just looking for solid base. Like, I don't think there's a ton of difference here either. So a bit more security, I would go Jarrett Allen, Josh Hart. That's not okay. Was there another player last year other than Claxton playing over Sharp for Brooklyn? I feel like Sharp maybe had an injury. Maybe that's why he wasn't playing. Yeah, someone can look it up. I couldn't be bothered. Should we hold Jaden Smith? Yeah, he was good in 15 minutes. In your league, no, I probably wouldn't. In your 7-team league. Valanciunas playing 23 minutes is must roster already, but you're right, in real life, horrible on the defensive side. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just don't think you can roll him out there as a starter. He's got too many holes. So I think, yes, you would be looking at what he's been doing in Washington since Alex Sarr went down, which is fine. And yeah, I mean, he's, again, different setting, different team that's trying to win. That's very different. So I think you could probably just plug him in as a 22, 24 minute a night player. I guess this depends as well on what they think about Nick Richards, because he hasn't been great. He's had some good games. Plumlee is not good. So, yeah, I mean, Valanciunas could... I think he's at least the backup, if not the starter. I don't think there's any way that they play him as the third centre. And it might just be a minute split, to be fair, and Plumlee doesn't play at all. So 24 minutes of Valanciunas is enough for him to get you sort of 13 points, 9 rebounds, maybe a block. So it's back end, but it should be consistent at least. Whereas in Washington, as we've seen all year, it's been 12 minutes for a week and then up to 23 and up and down and up and down. So, yeah, I think he probably gets a bump in terms of his floor being safer than it has been. All right, that'll do. Let's get out of here. 5:20 my time. The storm has stopped, which is nice. The internet didn't drop out. That's also nice. I will be back in the morning. Yes, I will be back in the morning with a pre-game show. And then we're only 24 hours from the trade deadline. So maybe we get a trade tonight when I'm asleep. Chad, I don't think Chad was here, was he? Chad has hopefully gone to bed, which will mean we'll get some more trades very soon. None yet. Nope, none yet. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please go and do all the stuff that we always ask, the downloading and everything. And I will be back tomorrow. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep post-game show. Until next time, catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at FBI.